Things that we can do in our neighborhoods, in our homes, in our faith-based institutions to recreate independent schools, even if it's not brick and mortar. So Ray, can you?
My name is Kia Walton.
My name is Abram Jackson.
Julius Crow, Hampton.
My name is Erica Janice Duke.
So my name is Abdul Haq Khalifa.
I attended Mira Vista Elementary. We were the Bees. It was a really nice school in Richmond, California. It's not known for its schools. Very diverse, had a great education. Like looking back, I can see like, yeah, that was quality. I learned quite a bit. Then I went to Adams Middle School, which was not a super strong academic environment. And that was challenging for me. That's where I really began to encounter needing to defend my Blackness.
So the types of schools I attended as a student were initially public schools in LA, and then I switched to independent schools. And that was interesting because I think, my mom was a public school teacher, and then, in some ways, I know people thought like, oh, she's abandoning public education by not keeping me at the school. But I know she was ultimately like really trying to look at my needs and what was best for me.
When I was in elementary school, I wanted to be a truck driver. So my parents are from LA. So we used to take, trips down there, it'd be nighttime and just seeing the trucks and the lights. And so that was my dream. My father was just a serious dude. So for me, I knew how to do wrong right. I'll say it that way. And so I kept my grades real solid to keep my parents off of my what I was trying to, you know what I mean, do. But I don't really remember my teachers. I remember a high school math teacher because his breath was just horrible. So it just made me like, if I ever teach, I'm gonna have some gum.
I did AmeriCorps at a school here in North Oakland. It's called St. Martin de Porres. It's no longer open. It was a private Catholic school, Title I, and they served primarily Black and Latino students. However, within the Black population, it was really unique because a lot of the immigrant students, their families were from Africa. And so it was diverse in the sense that you had African-American students and you had African students, you had Latino students, right? And I was serving in a kindergarten classroom. And the teacher, Miss Kimberly, who I keep up with till this day, she is not a Black woman, a white woman, but a great teacher. She sparked that curiosity in me to teach. Just seeing her and how she handled kids that look like me. She handled them with care. She even handled the families with care. She handled her passion teaching with care. And that really struck me. Just like, oh, I think I can do that.
My grandfather passed away, a year ago? And he was the last remaining relative in Arizona from Tucson. So there's no more roots in Tucson, even though the history there in terms of African Americans is quite interesting, and like how my family ended up there. So I like to claim that too. But yeah, I'm from California, from the Bay. I think the Bay has a particular culture that I'm proud of, that I embrace and celebrate.
I grew up in this system and I soaked it up. I got so good at this system that it became hard to think outside of it. I just got really good at doing this. But it was really like fertile ground for me to grow and develop. I also was leaning a lot into whiteness. They were just different worlds, different cultures. So even though there were Black students and brown students present in those spaces, it was just different. The difference was something I also avoided in high school, eventually tracking myself out in AP classes. And then the people I'm around are white and Asian primarily.
I think having had private education for the earlier years actually did me some good. And it's not to put down the public education system at all, but it's to name that you experience a different level of preparation or whatever. And that's entrenched in classism and racism and all that stuff. That's right. It's not the teachers at public schools. It's the fact that the system was set up that if you pay a little bit of money, you have a different quality of education. And that's unfortunate.
I went to a Christian school in Concord, California, which is the suburbs. And I was like one of the only Blacks. But I didn't have any type of race consciousness or anything. However, there was an incident, maybe in 4th or 5th grade, it had something to do with race. And it was me and my friend who was also Black. His parents ended up taking him out of the school behind that. And my parents, we never had a conversation about it. Because I remember my mom having a conversation with the principal, and it got ugly, you know, and I always remember that.
How I had been built at this point was just more comfortable, responsive, excited for spaces that checked a lot of boxes of white culture. Because I felt there was something wrong and unjust about it, I decided I was not actually exceptional just to equalize it. I had to, for myself, hold a mentality that I wasn't that great, I wasn't that exceptional, because if I am exceptional, the way it's framed is that means you're not. That means you're regular. And what it did for a long time was really contribute to squashing this feeling of my own excellence, because I felt so guilty that someone would see me and choose me and push me and give me access and give me the power to change and to live a life that we all should be allowed to, that someone would choose me over anybody else.
To the question of racism and how does it impact me, it exists, but that's not going to be the reason that I am not successful. And I'm not a victim, because if so, I might as well just lay down now. Am I complicit? You know, do I open my mouth? Do I make moves? Because I don't think there's any neutral ground. There's no gray area. You're either with it or you're not. So yeah, it exists, but the failures that I have, I'm the source in some way.
Teaching was something that I was born into. I'm a 4th generation educator, believe it or not. And I found that out more recently. I didn't know that growing up. But once I found that out, I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is definitely part of my family history. It's in my blood.
I don't have the traditional sense of like what it means to be a teacher or going through a program to become a teacher. I feel as though everything was by so fast for me. I guess I decided for it to go by fast. I didn't take a break when I graduated from undergrad. I just continued going. When I think about it now, I don't know, I feel as though I've lived many little lives and I still have so many more to live in the world of education. Yes.
Now, what was missing, I feel like there wasn't a full attention to my humanity. That was really hard, like really, really hard. I feel like I didn't always, get exactly what I needed. I didn't, sorry, I'm just like going there. I didn't feel like I could be my true self. I didn't have that many people who look like me. That just made school hard. So that's part of me becoming a teacher is doing that healing work. I wanted to be the teacher I never had.
I've always had this tension of like, being an African-American educator in a private school that usually mostly serves white students, especially in San Francisco. That's just the tension I hold. And I try to make up for it by teaching a particular content in ethnic studies. And also I work at San Francisco State teaching adjunct ethnic studies. And I feel like I've had a good experience of working across different contexts. I have not yet worked full-time at a public school as a high school teacher. That's like a goal of mine.
Sometimes I'm just very protective of my voice, of my stories. I'm not just about to, because this is a diverse conference or a PD to talk about diversity, doesn't mean I'm opening up my mouth to share my experience. My question is, do you really fully understand the experience? And they may be genuine. Don't get me wrong. They may be genuine. I'm not doubting that. But I get kind of like uptight about it too, like kind of upset because it's just like, who's really listening? And then when we write up these stories or we get all these reports, do my students' parents get to read this? No. And so I share these type of things with my students. They will know that I did this interview. I will probably use it in one of my lessons, because I want them to be aware of what's happening. But outside of New Orleans, outside of Louisiana, to get them to think like, okay, if Miss Duke is doing this, look, I'm going to do this as well. And it could be in any different type of capacity,
There was a point, she was 13, 14 years old at the time. Yeah, my daughter. And we had an argument. And I was like, how do you want me to connect with you? And she was like, get a journal. I was like, okay, cool. And I wrote in that journal, and she never wrote me back. But I was thinking in my mind, she's a preteen, that's cool. When I die, maybe she'll reflect and it'll mean something to her. So last January, she died. And I never realized like how important that journal would be to me. Because I thought it would be something that she would have. And I say that just to say, just in terms of mentorship, finding different ways to connect. And you never know what will grow. Because as a parent, I can't name anything else that's more precious than my children. So for me, that the job is sacred. For me to be with your children 5 or 6 hours a day, what am I going to do with that? And what is going to be the impact?
But there's something in me that really likes the idea of just take over the space, take over your classroom space, be big and be funny and say things that your parents said, to just be bigger in spaces. That's what I want, particularly for my Black kids, to take up their space. And for me as a teacher, as someone who is unlearning white supremacy culture tenets, and as someone who's unlearning like the nastiness of like power dynamics and unlearning my stereotypes, unlearning my classes and all of that, how do I make space for you to just be?
students and staff members this year?
Right. So, well, one of the things you'll see on campus is our hand sanitizing stations. We have hand washing stations throughout our campus. You'll see that we've beautified some of our outdoor spaces so that we can have classes and meetings outside. You will see that students will follow a block schedule this year so that they're not transitioning to classes as often. They'll have maybe 4 or 5 classes a day rather than 8 or 9 classes. We have sanitizing kits in the classrooms for students and staff to use as they transition. We have air purifiers throughout the school in our indoor spaces and shared spaces. So a lot of safety protocols and equipment.
Certainly. So let's talk about restorative return. That's something that the district is pushing.
specific things that we can do in our neighborhoods, in our homes, in our faith-based institutions to recreate independent schools, even if it's not brick and mortar. So, Ray, can you?
My name is Kia Walton.
My name is Abram Jackson.
Julius Crow, Hampton.
My name is Erica Janice Duke.
So my name is Abdul Haq Khalifa.
I attended Mira Vista Elementary. We were the Bees. It was a really nice school in Richmond, California. It's not known for its schools. Very diverse, had a great education. Like looking back, I can see like, yeah, that was quality. I learned quite a bit. Then I went to Adams Middle School, which was not a super strong academic environment. And that was challenging for me. That's where I really began to encounter needing to defend my Blackness.
So the types of schools I attended as a student were initially public schools in LA, and then I switched to independent schools. And that was interesting because I think, my mom was a public school teacher, and then, in some ways I know people thought like, oh, she's abandoning public education by not keeping me at the school. But I know she was ultimately like really trying to look at my needs and what was best for me.
When I was in elementary school, I wanted to be a truck driver. So my parents are from LA, so we used to take, trips down there, it'd be nighttime and just seeing the trucks and the lights. And so that was my dream. My father was just a serious dude. So for me, I knew how to do wrong right. I'll say it that way. And so I kept my grades real solid to keep my parents off of what I was trying to, do. But I don't really remember my teachers. I remember a high school math teacher because his breath was just horrible. So it just made me like, if I ever teach, I'm gonna have some gum.
I did AmeriCorps at a school here in North Oakland. It's called St. Martin de Porres. It's no longer open. It was a private Catholic school, Title I, and they served primarily Black and Latino students. However, within the Black population, it was really unique because a lot of the immigrant students, their families were from Africa. And so it was diverse in the sense that you had African-American students and you had African students, you had Latino students, right? And I was serving in a kindergarten classroom. And the teacher, Ms. Kimberly, who I keep up with till this day, she's not a Black woman, a white woman, but a great teacher. She sparked that curiosity in me to teach. Just seeing her and how she handled kids that look like me. She handled them with care. She even handled the families with care. She handled her passion teaching with care. And that really struck me. Just like, oh, I think I can do that.
My grandfather passed away, a year ago? And he was the last remaining relative in Arizona from Tucson. So there's no more roots in Tucson, even though the history there in terms of African Americans is quite interesting, and like how my family ended up there. So I like to claim that too. But yeah, I'm from California, from the Bay. I think the Bay has a particular culture that I'm proud of, that I embrace and celebrate.
I grew up in this system and I soaked it up. I got so good at this system that it became hard to think outside of it. I just got really good at doing this. But it was really like fertile ground for me to grow and develop. I also was leaning a lot into whiteness. They were just different worlds, different cultures. So even though there were Black students and brown students present in those spaces, it was just different. The difference was something I also avoided in high school, eventually tracking myself out in AP classes And then the people I'm around are white and Asian primarily.
I think having had private education for the earlier years actually did me some good. And it's not to put down the public education system at all, but it's to name that you experience a different level of preparation or whatever. And that's entrenched in classism and racism and all that stuff. That's right. It's not the teachers at public schools. It's the fact that the system was set up that if you pay a little bit of money, you have a different quality of education. And that's unfortunate.
I went to a Christian school in Concord, California, which is the suburbs. And I was like one of the only blacks, but I didn't have any type of race consciousness or anything. However, there was an incident, maybe in 4th or 5th grade, it had something to do with race. And it was me and my friend who was also black. His parents ended up taking him out of the school behind that. And my parents, we never had a conversation about it. Because I remember my mom having a conversation with the principal, and it got ugly, you know, and I always remember that.
How I had been built at this point was just more comfortable, responsive, excited for spaces that checked a lot of boxes of white culture. Because I felt there was something wrong and unjust about it, I decided I was not actually exceptional just to equalize it. I had to, for myself, hold a mentality that I wasn't that great, I wasn't that exceptional, because if I am exceptional, the way it's framed is that means you're not. That means you're regular. And what it did for a long time was really contribute to squashing this feeling of my own excellence, because I felt so guilty that someone would see me and choose me and push me and give me access and give me the power to change and to live a life that we all should be allowed to, that someone would choose me over anybody else.
To the question of racism and how does it impact me, it exists, but that's not going to be the reason that I am not successful. And I'm not a victim, because if so, I might as well just lay down now. Am I complicit? You know, do I open my mouth? Do I make moves? Because I don't think there's any neutral ground. There's no gray area. You're either with it or you're not. So yeah, it exists, but the failures that I have, I'm the source in some way.
Teaching was something that I was born into. I'm a 4th generation educator, believe it or not. And I found that out more recently. I didn't know that growing up, but once I found that out, I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is definitely part of my family history. It's in my blood.
I don't have the traditional sense of like what it means to be a teacher or going through a program to become a teacher. I feel as though everything was by so fast for me. I guess I decided for it to go by fast. I didn't take a break when I graduated from undergrad. I just continued going. When I think about it now, I don't know, I feel as though I've lived many little lives and I still have so many more to live in the world of education. Yes.
Now, what was missing, I feel like there wasn't a full attention to my humanity. That was really hard, like really, really hard. I feel like I didn't always, get exactly what I needed. I didn't, sorry, I'm just like going there. I didn't feel like I could be my true self. I didn't have that many people who look like me. That just made school hard. So that's part of me becoming a teacher is doing that healing work. I wanted to be the teacher I never had.
I've always had this tension of like, you know, being an African-American educator in a private school that usually mostly serves white students, especially in San Francisco. That's just the tension I hold. And I try to make up for it by teaching a particular content in ethnic studies. And also I work at San Francisco State teaching adjunct ethnic studies. And I feel like I've had a good experience of working across different contexts. I have not yet worked full-time at a public school as a high school teacher. That's like a goal of mine.
Sometimes I'm just very protective of my voice, of my stories. I'm not just about to because this is a diverse conference or a PD to talk about diversity doesn't mean I'm opening up my mouth to share my experience. My question is, do you really fully understand the experience? And they may be genuine. Don't get me wrong. They may be genuine. I'm not doubting that. But I get kind of like uptight about it too, like kind of upset, because it's just like, who's really listening? And then when we write up these stories or we get all these reports, do my students' parents get to read this? No. And so I share these type of things with my students. They will know that I did this interview. I will probably use it in one of my lessons, because I want them to be aware of what's happening. But outside of New Orleans, outside of Louisiana, to get them to think like, okay, if Miss Duke is doing this, look, I'm going to do this as well. And it could be in any different type of capacity,
There was a point, she was 13, 14 years old at the time. Yeah, my daughter. And we had an argument. And I was like, how do you want me to connect with you? And she was like, get a journal. I was like, okay, cool. And I wrote in that journal, and she never wrote me back. But I was thinking in my mind, she's a preteen, that's cool. When I die, maybe she'll reflect and it'll mean something to her. So last January, she died. And I never realized how important that journal would be to me, because I thought it would be something that she would have. And I say that just to say, just in terms of mentorship, finding different ways to connect. And you never know what will grow, because as a parent, I can't name anything else that's more precious than my children. So for me, that the job is sacred. For me to be with your children 5 or 6 hours a day, what am I going to do with that? And what is going to be the impact?
But there's something in me that really likes the idea of just take over the space, take over your classroom space, be big and be funny and say things that your parents said, to just be bigger in spaces. That's what I want, particularly for my Black kids, to take up their space. And for me as a teacher, as someone who is unlearning white supremacy culture tenets, and as someone who's unlearning the nastiness of power dynamics and unlearning my stereotypes, unlearning my classism, all of that, how do I make space for you to just be?
different for students and staff members this year?
Right. So, well, one of the things you'll see on campus is our hand sanitizing stations. We have hand modified some of our outdoor spaces so that we can have classes and meetings outside. You will see that students will follow a block schedule this year so that they're not transitioning to classes as often. They'll have maybe 4 or 5 classes a day rather than 8 or 9 classes. We have sanitizing kits.
This is what happens. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the State of Black Education Oakland Awards, 4th annual award ceremony, Black Excellence. Look at that video. This is not planned. The video hit right on point. That's Kenan, that's Ayana Moody, that's Lakeisha, that's Sister, she's an angel now, Michelle Boutin. That's, y'all know Mr. Brown, Herman Brown. We have at SoBEO over the last, since 2017, really come together to celebrate and lift up the stories of Oakland, to talk about what is the state of education. Here's the crew. Peace, Dirk, myself, Anthony, Dr. Charles Cole. He wasn't doctor then. Mama and Zinga. So yeah, it's been really an opportunity for us to really look at ourselves and look at our community and celebrate who we are and what we do. We do that through looking at data, what's happening on the streets, how are our children learning, how are parents learning, how are we learning? No, I will, sure. I'm a little bit more comfortable right now. Founders of SoBEO. That's Dirk Tilton. He passed away just a year ago. Dr. Charles Cole is getting the first Dirk Tilton Award by Families in Action, one of our partners and families that, families and youth that are in action about liberation and about education. And some of the awardees tonight are representatives of that. So welcome. I hope you got something to eat. There's a live stream going on to the AV and to all the wonderful people that on the tech side of the world. Can we say hi and open up the space for the people that might be in Zoom? What do? You should. What do you do? Oh, the camera's back there. You guys wave at the camera, you all. Welcome, welcome. In 2020, when there was a pandemic, we had so many people log on and participate. And y'all, I think that was the longest award ceremony. That they're laughing, but they were sitting. He was sitting there. His granny from Georgia was watching. His uncle from Georgia, way past their bedtime, because it's Pacific Standard Time. So in Georgia, it was 3 hours earlier or later. So we're again really, really blessed and honored to have you all here. Because we want to actually, that's one of our founders, Benny Passon, and he is going to get the first Spirit of Dirk Award. And there is, who's that, y'all? Y'all know her? Miss Orly Brown, Dr. Sabrina Moore. So this is who we're celebrating tonight.
Hi, Miss Diane, I see.
And Miss Diane. Bill Patterson, Cecily Frost, Mama Connie, Mama Williams, Michael McDaniel, fire starter, man. This dude's on the scene. And these folks impact equity, technology, and grateful for this beautiful space that we're in, the Kapoor Center. So we'll get to celebrate them. This is some work that Dr. Charles Cole is a part of. That's Brother David Castillo. He's from Oakland in San Diego or in Southern Cal, Dr. Charles. And Omar Yanar, they have an inspiring podcast called South Star Classroom. These are real men who teach right there. 8 Black Hands podcast. And this 8 Black Hands, a book club. Chris Stewart. So Mr. Patterson, I need you to get ready to get on deck, and Miss Allie get on deck, because we're going to celebrate you all next. Thanks everyone again for being here. Make yourself comfortable. It shifted because of the people online. Oh, did we get the online people to say anything since we have moved in here? Are they gonna talk? Oh, is this, I want mine because they're super done. Here.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you, Jamoke. I do know where we are. Oh,
Probably don't.
no. So that's why you should continue leading. I was just coming to give you some information. Hi, everyone. I'm so blessed to be here. My name is Kenan Scott. I am he, him pronouns for all those who understand and care. I am so blessed to be a part of SoBEO this year, the awards ceremony, being on the end of giving. I think right now, I'm trying to redefine the term OG to opportunity giver. And I feel like today I'm really sitting in that space of shining a light on the people who really are the OGs out there, giving the opportunities to the people. We have a packed schedule. I thought I knew the timing. Jamoke, you want to come here and make sure I actually know the timing? Okay, because I know we're getting into the Elder Awards. Yeah. Okay, you want to tee that up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I teed it up already, so I told Miss Hallie to get on deck, and I told Mr. Baxter.
Okay, they're over here, Jamoke. No? Up front? All right, so we are going to get into our first set of awards, which are the Elder Awards. Jamoke, please introduce these beautiful people.
Dr. Allie Whitehurst. So the camera's up there. Hey, y'all. I still want to hear. I want to see who's out there in land. Great. So I probably should have had an amazing bio for this beautiful woman. I kind of know her story on her retirement after many years and decades actually in Chicago educating. And she came home, West Oakland, and she thought she was gonna sit down and no. So probably for the last 6-8 years, a good part of me being on the board, she supported the work at McClymonds around, y'all used to call them, what did I used to call academies? She was the original person who did the academies in Oakland, then went to Chicago, built that work out there, and then came back home. And so this is Dr. Allie Whitehurst, a beautiful woman of God, and in 2019 was the SoBEO Wise Elder Award honoree as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. This is really quite an honor to be here, but it's more an honor to present this Elder Award to someone who really needs no introduction in the city of Oakland. I mean, this is someone who is a giant among giants. He started as one of the persons in the parks of Oakland's rec. And currently he serves on East Bay Mud's utility board. He's been there for years. But more than that, he is a mentor. And so if you have not been mentored by this man, you have been mentored by someone whose life he has touched. The greats like the late Joe Morgan and Bill Russell. This is the man who is the citizen of citizens. And so I'm not going to go on and on to introduce Mr. William Bill Patterson, because he's a man who needs no introduction to the city of Oakland. He is Mr. Oakland. And I am grateful that I've had an opportunity to have his life touch mine, because after all, that's what living is about. It is about touching the lives and making the lives of others better. And that's what this great elder has done and continues to do. Mr. Patterson.
Should I be back here?
Mr. Patterson, my mic, let me read this to you. Sorry. So this is the SoBEO Wise Elder Award presented to William Bill Patterson. Thank you for your love for Oakland's Black children. We honor your legacy of diligence. State of Black Education, Oakland, October 22. I think I'm gonna be crying all night, y'all. So here you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We wanted to kick it off actually with Mr. Patterson. So I don't know if you're comfortable sitting here or you want to stand.
All right.
You know
took
the
my folder, but
Oh, let me go get it.
I probably don't need it.
You probably do. Let me get it for you.
First of all, I wanted to thank the organization for not only honoring me, but for just inviting me. Kenneth, you and Jamoki are to be congratulated on your leadership. I wanted just to say what's most important in life is a journey. What you do and who you meet and relationships form. You see, that's the pathway you form through life. And I come from third generation educators back in the state of Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. You know about the Little Rock Nine. All of them attended the same high school, Dunbar High School, Paul Lawrence Dunbar, Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm a graduate of Paul Lawrence Dunbar. On my journey, I started in public school. When my mother decided to become a Catholic, she and my dad became Catholic together. And they moved me to a private school. That was a Catholic school, probably the smallest school in Little Rock. And even though the education component was great, I had a solid foundation because my elementary school was in public schools. And the unique story I tell you tonight is about beginning. The teachers, the Black teachers in Little Rock sued their county board for equal pay. Thurgood Marshall, whom you've all heard about, came to Little Rock and he conducted that trial. The old judge told him, he said, "What is it you want to get out of this, lawyer?" And Thurgood said, "Anything I can." He said, "Well, you're not going to get much." They told him in the beginning, "You're not going to get much because we're not going with you." And I only say that to say, give you a little background. Donald Fitz McCullum, who also served as president of NAACP Oakland of the region, and went on to be an attorney that freed a man who killed his commanding officer in the Navy. He was called back in to do that trial. And believe it or not, he got the man off. And he continued in the county of Alameda and was in the DA's office and whatnot, and was appointed Superior Court judge. He and Lionel Wilson, who also attended McClymonds, my school in California, that's what you would read about if you read the September 17th Chronicle paper. It talks about McClymonds and its history. And that's why I say the journey that I took was to run away from home because they wouldn't allow me to go to public school, my parents. And I wanted to play football and run track. And those things were ingrained in me, but scholar was ingrained in me because my grandfather was assistant superintendent of education for the whole state. You got to understand that background. My great grandfather, my mother's father, was the first, what they called back then, it's not like city council, but it's the same thing. And he was first elected to the Little Rock School Board and to the city council. And so that goes back. So there's a cross section here. But my main learning was what the teachers taught us and the trial that Thurgood lost in the lower court, he gained in the higher court because he appealed it down the street. And of course, he won in the higher court. And the Little Rock teachers got equal pay.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
If you look back at the history of the Black colleges, you will find Wiley, you will find all of them listed in that section. The number of people who applied for positions in Little Rock coming from that vista gave us the finest teachers in the world. And I say that to say I'm a product of those teachers, what they poured in me. They said, we'll prepare you to take the college entrance exam from any college or university in America, and you'll pass it and get in. And they told most of the kids, hang on when you get where you're going, do well in school, and hang on where you are, because there's not a lot to come back to Arkansas for. Jobs were not the thing to come home for, unless you had parents who had businesses or were wired. You didn't have much of a chance. We had college degree persons working as red caps down at the bus depot. See, that's the way the economy went. But I want to close by just saying this. What they poured into me and what I learned from my various journeys in school was to excel, to take all of the knowledge I could gain and put it in here and pass that on to the young men and women I came in contact with, because nobody can take that away from me. To be caring persons. You see, I'm a captain of the football team. Nobody promised me I was going to be on the football team or even make it. It was in my head. But after I got on, I took care of my fellow players, and they responded to me. That's the beginning of leadership. That's what you have in a Bill Russell. You see, you pass the mark of player, and you become concerned about your fellow player. And then you lead that person in harmony, and you play the game better than anybody else. I want to close by saying Frank and Bill are the only two of my mentees to achieve the Medal of Freedom, all from one high school, McClymonds. You see, not for playing sports. Both the first manager in baseball, Frank was, and Bill, of course, was the first coach in the basketball league. But they were not doing that on the basis of their play. They could play the game, but they could teach the game. Now, I close with this one thing. All of you who are here today, and I call upon you to take it to heart. Think of somebody that helped you. Do good for the sake of good.
That's right. That's right.
I appreciate the award. I'm old, I talk too much. But I believe in it.
That's right. Ashe. Ashe.
God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Bill
Thank you.
Patterson. We are so honored. We are so honored.
Here's the folder.
I got you.
So you're gonna have to ask him what's in that folder later on this evening, you all. I'm not crying. I got nothing in my eye. I just want to appreciate him so much. And we did want him to come during happy hour so that he could talk as long as he wanted to. Because you know, when y'all at happy hour, y'all know y'all enjoy a little talk and sitting with a wise old man and a brother and a champion and a father. Yes. Thank you. We're so grateful you're here to talk. Next, this is a whole, so important. So our brother Dirk, there's not video actually. I keep looking back to see if we weren't planning that much. But Dirk Tilson was a part of this SoBEO thing we were doing. Charles, Kenan, Karan, Ryan Phillip, Amber, so many folks, right? I'm getting in trouble because I'm not naming everyone. Anthony Wilson, Marquise. Where is Marquise? Where is Marquise? And so it was COVID. And Dirk went on a mission to make sure that there was internet for all. And so we met pretty regularly. And Kenny, everybody was doing so. Kenny was supposed to open up this huge space around computer science teaching for young adults 18 to 24. He was about to rocket and COVID hit and he didn't get his building in. All right, great. And so we got together September of 2021 because that was about when we were kind of all getting together again. And Dirk loved a really good IPA, and we have a few. We don't have a lot, very bad, because I know all y'all don't really drink IPA because it's a special quiet taste. And we met and we talked. Karan, Amber, Kenan was there. We all just really kind of talked about the work that we have been doing and that we were so excited about the world opening back up and the work that we were going to do. And then on January 15th, 2022, we would do our SoBEO awards that we had decided we were going to do things on Martin Luther King's birthday. And so after that meeting, and Dirk's email was, let's get together for drinks and talk and chat or something. And so we were there, we showed up, and then he sent the email afterwards with the directions of all the things that we needed to do and that we had talked about in the having a beer in the chat. And said, here are my ideas here are the folks that I want to honor and we should talk about for the SoBEO Award. So this year we have very special Dirk picks. He passed away in October, and so we were too discombobulated and couldn't do it in January, barely got to October, but we had to show up today because we had to show up. So I talked a lot, but that's what Dirk's picks is. That was the whole thing. So he had 4 people that he picked. And one of those people was Dr. Kimberly Mayfield right here. Come on up. And we did a simple gift for you. Flowers, always, give you your flowers now. And then it's hard. And so here, a little bit of Dirk, who had an amazing heart, was incredibly generous. and saw you. And we didn't ever get to talk about what he saw, but he loved it. And so I just want to give you a couple moments before you have to run out. And I'm not going to tell you a story. But thank you. This is Dr.
Thank you.
I didn't do her. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She's a dean, first African-American dean, female.
Yeah.
Holy Names University. And the most recent work that I got to do with her was her giving scholarships to our 0 to 5-year-olds that are in West Oakland, and that they actually are accepted into Holy Names College already. So
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful recognition. My minister emerita, Reverend Eloise Oliver, used to always say, "You never know who's watching." I am so honored to be one of Dirk's picks. I never had a chance to meet him, but obviously he was watching. During my education career, I've been an unapologetic stand for Black education. I was the beneficiary of watching my mother, Margie Mayfield, a Grambling State University alumna, teach her students at Markham Elementary School from 1967 to 1993. And I would add that she started her career in the segregated schools in Monroe, Louisiana. For the majority of my K-12 career, I lovingly taught mostly African-American students, mostly male, disproportionately male, in my special day class at John Swett K-8. So for true Oaklanders, you will remember John Swett K-8. I demanded excellence in my classroom every day, and I received it from my students. As the Dean of the School of Education and Liberal Arts, and I am the first African-American to ever be tenured at Holy Names University. And thank you. And last year I received a vice presidency. So I'm also the vice president for external relations and strategic partnerships. So during my 21 years at Holy Names University, my work has really been around removing barriers to the teaching profession so that the teachers begin to look like the students they are teaching. And the research is finally catching up to what we've always known to be true, which is that all students deserve a Black teacher. Yes, and students actually prefer Black teachers. So it's my mission in life to increase the number of Black teachers. And one of my alums will be getting an award, Diane Johnson, later tonight. Very proud of her. So in closing, I would really like to thank the Honorable Jamoke Hinton and my sorority sister, we are AKAs, Dr. Allie Whitehurst, for the work that you are doing with the State of Black Education, Oakland, and all of the awardees. Congratulations and thank you again.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you for your work. So next up, I said I'm not going to do too much more talking. But we do want to share with you SoBEO campaigns. We came together and we were also really clear, one, that we shouldn't do janky events. So how's the event, y'all? How we doing? You okay? We're janky. Come on. Thank you. Dang, y'all are tough. But when you're out on the rooftop, you'll see the work that we've been doing. It's old data, but it's also very evergreen. And then the old data is still looking like the new data. And so that is our work. Again, we always kind of wanted to leave here saying, what's the action? What is the work? So next up is Karan and our partners, Black Teacher Project. It hasn't been formally said, but Black Female Project must be our partners as well. So Karan, why don't you take this and they're gonna share some of the information. There are boards and things up, so we do want you to feel like you can get up and walk around and check out the information. Here you go, Karan. I don't know.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
What year were you? 2020.
2020, I was a 5-hour one that we did 2020, so it's all good as an impact awardee. So I'm so happy to be here tonight, honoring my brother, Dirk Tillerson, so I know who's looking down from us from heaven right now with smiles, seeing all the beautiful faces tonight. So we're doing a lot of campaigns with the State of Black Oakland Education. Me being a long time teacher here in Oakland, I focus in on our teachers and increasing the teacher voice in Oakland. So I'm very thrilled that Black Teacher Project had the awesomeness opportunity to partner with Black Female Project. Normally we focus in on the women for the month of March, but we had an opportunity to do some more work to get and amplify more Black teacher voice. So I'm gonna have Ms. Precious to come up and talk about a little bit of her work that she's been doing with Black teachers. Come on up here, Precious. Come on up here.
Thank you, Karan. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here, really more of an honor. All right. So both of my parents were educators, Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco. My mother retired from Berkeley Unified, but being in the space reminds me of when I was young and able to be in spaces with educators who I knew they loved me. As a young person around them, I just drew, there's to that point of the pouring in, it was just all around us all the time. I'm grateful for that, which led me to this work in partnership with Black Teacher Project. We have a story collection focused on Black educators across the state of California that was built out of those annual conversations with Black Teacher Project focused on Black women who were educators. Out of those conversations grew this collection where we were able to then go and do some quantitative data analysis over the last 2 years. That some of those data highlights are around the room this evening. And the full report is available at teachertruth.org. That's teachertruth.org. Black educators responded to the survey, and the video that was on ahead of time and that you can access via teachertruth.org, we featured 5 educators came in the midst of COVID and talked to us about how they've been navigating racism, sexism in the workplace. There were some startling results related to sexual harassment based on race. And then for each finding, and the highest percentage there were men who came to us. So we have the findings across the room, and then the way that the educators told us how they cope about that finding. So maybe it is something that they found a challenge. And then underneath that on each slide or in each poster are the details of how they cope. So we hope the next phase of the work is another survey, and we will make sure that you get that information, and then to elevate what you all and your colleagues are telling us are the pieces that need to be instituted in organizations that will get to school sites to change the work environments for Black educators across the state. So it is a long journey, but we are on the journey and we're committed. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much for that. I forgot to formally kind of introduce myself. Karan Brinson, currently the content manager for Great School Voices and assistant principal over at Skyline High School right now. This is like my 12th year in education. I've taught pretty much elementary and also middle school grades, and I got started in Chicago, and now I've been in Oakland since 2015 now. So thank you guys. So now we got Keith coming on up. You guys might have seen some of his work on our Great School Voices site with our SoBEO rant. So let's go and give it up to my fellow GA boy, Mr. Keith. Take it away, Keith.
I catch my breath. Peace and blessings, everybody. My name is Marquise Evans. I come all the way out here from Warner Robins, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the country. Yes, sir. But in part of our work, we love to uplift parents We love to uplift teachers, but also we got to uplift the scholars, the people who are actually in the classroom. And so I am the program manager for Energy Converter. So in our work, we basically build agency in our scholars. We want to make sure that they know exactly what type of service they're receiving. Because honestly, you could ask a scholar and say, hey, do you feel that your school is actually providing you with the best education? They're going to say yes. But then when you actually present them with the data and show them what they really should be getting, and it's like, okay, cool, bet. Now let's channel that anger and let's do some research about it. And then let's find a solution and then talk about some ways that we can elevate your experience. And then also not only that they're elevating them, we're able to turn them into change agents where they can actually spread this knowledge on to their colleagues as well too. And so with me doing this work with Brother Charles Cole, yes, sir. Brother Charles Cole actually gave me the confidence to bring out my own agency as well too. Because you already know it, in the education system, sometimes after we go to a meeting, you know how all the Black people, we meet together and have our meeting after the meeting to just discuss the BS that we just partake in or whatever. So through SoBEO, I have actually been blessed with the opportunity of actually taking on something that Brother Charles created called SoBEO Rants. And it's that situation where I'm not just the big Black man in education just talking about the problem. I want to also end it with a solution as well too. So whenever y'all are available, check out SoBEO Rants on all platforms, Spotify, it's iMusic, it's on all podcast platforms basically. But I like to uplift everybody's voice. I like to address the problem and have those real discussions, those real live discussions. Because it's one thing to be professional, but at the same time, it's like, it's unprofessional to provide this service for our kids. And at that moment, that's when we got to be real with people and actually provide a solution. So my name is Keith. I'm the program manager for Energy Converters, and I am the host of SoBEO Rants. And it's a pleasure seeing everybody, such beautiful Black faces in the building, and ready to have an amazing night. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you. Let's give it up again. All right, we're gonna have Paul come on up. This man, I met him through Zoom, right after Dirk had passed away. I met this man and found out that he was doing a lot of the background work with Dirk. So he's from New York City. So he did the cross-country drive this summer from New York City all the way to California. So I'm happy to have Paul in the Bay Area now. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually wrote a speech because, and I will read it. Yeah. So the question was, what is Ledbetter? Which is why I'm here. And so Dirk and I co-founded Great School Choices back in 2009, which began as an initiative to just incubate independent mom and pop charter schools in New York. We ended up doing 19 of them. So schools where where students can have there's a CTE high school, there is a school that focuses on dual language. We had the first school with kids with high functioning autism, which was actually featured in a blog a few months ago. But no, I'll read the speech. And this explains why we changed our name. What is Ledbetter? Before last year, Ledbetter was a name for my part of the organization that I helped Dirk to found. In my sphere, I focus on the supply side of ed reform, creating community design charter schools and improving existing schools to do right by their children. School leaders, teachers, students, they all perform better when led better, because by design, our coaching and supports all focus on meeting each of these stakeholders where they are and then accelerating their growth from there. Then this past year happened. And out of that darkness, Ledbetter became the overarching name for everything that we do. Great School Voices, SoBEO, the incubator where we create schools, and the accelerator where we improve them. Why? Because of you all. In my 20 years in public education, I had never in my life experienced what I experienced when I stepped foot into Oakland a year ago. Parents, students, organizations, philanthropy, all swimming in the same direction together without ego, pushing when you had to, rallying together when you needed to, celebrating your wins because you know how critical that is, and gathering en masse to lift each other up when we were broken. Each person had a story of not just Dirk, but how he made you better to fight your fight for educational justice. And since then, what has happened? From my own eyes alone, from afar, as I was in New York and then last week, you've reached national acclaim for your pandemic-related work when creating parent liberators, and educational alternative for kids who couldn't leave home during the pandemic. You're building internet for all, with the mayor's office, in fact. And just last week, props to Kimmy, you had the largest forum to date where mayoral candidates and board member candidates answered to you and said outright that they want you to hold them accountable. And get this, the questions and the presentations didn't come from just FIA or one organization. It came from everyone here in this space. It came from parents. It came from students. And it even came from one of our awardees tonight, who just the day before had to carry her school in what was certainly everyone's worst nightmare. I drove across the country with Bristol for this, for that, for the things that you did. Don't take for granted what you have here from members of the philanthropic community here in this room, supporting you to the collective power you have created to advance the state of Black education in Oakland. It doesn't exist in New York. I never saw it. 23 years I was there, didn't see it once. You guys are the movement. You all are the movement. The movement was led better because it came from you. Dirk just met you where you were and then accelerated your growth towards the outcomes we're celebrating today. And now you all wield that power. So what's next? Ledbetter's mission, our mission, is to build schools and movements that are rooted in the community. And this is how we plan to do it. And I'm sure it sounds a little familiar. We support each and every one of your organizations' initiatives in your quest to address the state of Black education, however you need it. We amplify your work, not just in Great School Voices, but everywhere we can to advance your policy and funding objectives. We listen to you, and we lend our collective experience in data and policy to create those campaigns that we need to hold schools and districts and anyone else accountable. We support your creation of content and the narratives behind it. We measure the impact of our work along data that speaks truth, then use that data as our sword and our shield. In short, Ledbetter will be both the town square that Dirk created with Great School Voices Online and what he, Jamoke, Benny, and Charles created through SoBEO, as well as what we know best to help you lead. No one alone can ever replicate what our brother Dirk did, but what he left us all with is the gravitational force of being true to his spirit. And that's all we need, because we're all individual stars that form constellations that light up our sky. I'm just grateful to be here to help. So thank you. And back, interlude.
Hey, come up here, Charles. Come on. So, oh wait, I have a script. I'm sorry. I'm gonna read this because Nicole, you can get on deck. Mama Toya, you out there? Which way, Mama Toya? I need some. Put it in the chat. Is that what they say? Put it in the chat.
I'm here.
There she is, lovely. Is Tanae around? Anybody else on Zoom or coming in?
Oh, Michelle, Jennifer.
They got the link too. So, so this is, again, pandemic was real. And it truly, right, made an impact on how we connected with one another, how we were in relationship with folks. You know, and I'm sure many people are like, I'm gonna learn this during the pandemic. And I didn't do that, but Mama Toya probably crocheted many things. And I got to finally visit her. She's crocheting now. And there's El Michelle. She's got internet. That's great. We usually don't see her at book club. So this award is new. It's the SoBEO National Influencer Award. And I would say that just during the pandemic, I think, again, all of us reach for places to be and to be in community and to learn. And so this gentleman, Dr. Charles Cole, co-founder in SoBEO, also founded A Black Hands. Co-founded A Black Hands, another kind of amazing collective. I like collective impact. I like that idea of we each bring to the table, to the spaces, who we are at our best. And everyone does that. And then we support each other to even get better at what we do. And so, again, this gentleman really pushed the envelope around like what we could do nationally. And so, again, these national influencers brought together mainly through, again, podcasts, but for this first honoring, it's to the A Black Hands Book Club, which was a part of the Patreon of A Black Hands podcast. And so Mama Toya did a lot of leading of that. But I believe, I'm actually going to give it back to you because I'm going to let you speak on it, because I believe you might have, the first book was you or something like that. So I'm going to give it to Dr. Charles. But we do want to honor, of course, the book club and our work nationally.
Awesome. Hey, real quick, can we clap it up for Jamoke? This came together in a few weeks. She led a lot of this stuff. This the Black event. This is not the stuffy. This is any of y'all that go to a Black church. I need you to tap into that. I need you to understand. Y'all in the middle of Oakland, y'all on a rooftop with free wine, act like it. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like we don't do boring. We don't do that. This is not church mouse time, all right? For my elders, I apologize. For everybody else, do what you need to do. I understand. There you go. So I'm gonna get out the way in a second, but I've been a part of a book club for a long time. I have a Black man's book club that I've been in since I was 18, that I'm still a part of now. And so when the pandemic happened, and we were trying to better engage with some of our fans, we had some amazing people like Nicole, like El Michelle, like Mama Toya, Jennifer, all these people up here. You know, I decided to host the first book club that we had, and it was us reading about the way that public school actually came to be. And if for those that don't know, that was by Black people in the South that was fresh out of slavery. That was the fastest growing time of literacy in our country, was Black people that had no money. All they had was their dignity and their newfound freedom. And the South didn't want anybody going to school, and white kids either, because they wanted to farm. And up north, they only wanted Black kids. They only wanted people going to school in order to work for them. But it was Black parents that put that together. So we read about that history. And then from there, they took it and ran. So I'm gonna stop and throw it to you all, because I just did one of the books, but they turned into an institution. So with no further ado, yes. Go ahead.
I want to give you this award because you called out. Look at where Brother Yafeo. I stole this directly from him. He does an amazing bowl, a Black History Bowl and a Women's History Bowl right there. And if y'all go, if you get to look at it close, it's Carter G. Woodson all up engraved in it, looking beautiful. Can y'all see it? I don't think you can see it.
I'll show it to you tomorrow.
We'll take a picture. But to my colleagues, I'm looking that way, to book club, thank you for saving my life. I think during COVID it was really wonderful. But I think the vision and the idea around how I could show up differently and stronger in Oakland, I give so much appreciation and thanks to you. And so also I learned from Chris Stewart, if no one gonna give you an award, they may not give you an award. So we gotta make sure we give each other awards in that particular kind of way. So to you.
All right. Hi, ladies. Thank you for joining us. And so, yes, Charles and Jamoke kind of did describe how we come together, but I just wanted to give a little bit more background about our respective roles in what we now call the Literary Society. I think I met Charles back in 2014 or something. I can't remember back that far. It's been a while, but it was one of the worst years of my life in terms of
My level
Not
of
because she met me though. I need you to distinguish that. I met him and life was terrible. Don't do that.
the level of satisfaction that I was experiencing with my child's public school education was just not there. And Charles was hosting, I think, one of his very first events. It may have been the first. And I showed up with my son. My children are 25 and 19, respectively. And I always thought that as long as I provided with my children for a stability for my children, a better environment than I have when I was in school, supported the teachers, everything would go well. And it wasn't going the way I needed it to go in comparison to my sacrifice. So we're not even going to talk about those things. But when I met with Charles, I learned some tools that I didn't have before, and I probably should have. And so when I left there, I remember once my daughter in the 6th grade, she was reporting some things about that were going on in her classroom. And I was like, babe, that's ridiculous. You're making this up. Are you sure you're understanding what you're experiencing? It was so ridiculous. I said, I'm taking off to work tomorrow and I'm going to that school. Okay. And I sat there in the class for half a day. And I remembered, because of the level of confidence that I had in my style of communications to educators and administrators from being affiliated with Charles, I used it. I told the director, my daughter told me some crazy things yesterday, so that's why I'm here. I sat in that class for half a day, and now I believe everything she says. And I want to see that teacher's resume and her credentials. Instead of showing those to me, she resigned. On that day, I felt a combination of, empowerment. Well, yeah, look at that. I spoke up on behalf of my child, and this teacher left, good. But then I also felt hopelessness because I didn't know where we were going to go after that. And so imagine if, and I want to introduce these people on screen to you. El Michelle is a teacher educator. Tanae Hamilton is a master curricular crafter. That's what I made that up for you, Tanae. But she makes culturally relevant curricula. Jennifer Davis advocates for youth and parent educator and youth. Toya Algarin, she is a dynamic personality, community organizer, and I rely on her extrovertism to keep things going. That's not one of my skill sets. And so imagine if during that time I had these people with me. That's why when we learn what we are learning, when we reach into what we reach into to learn ourselves about our history in this country, it's transformative. It helps me to parent my young adult children. Imagine if these people were standing behind me back then, the difference that we would have experienced, that parents can experience with their children and their educational experiences. That's what we're trying to organize. That's what we're trying to form. And don't be mad at me, because our vision and our mission, although they may not be finalized, we have the vision of the Literary Society is to open eyes so that all can see and believe in the humanity of Black culture. And our mission is to create intergenerational, literary Black communities by helping children tap into the power of literacy, one word at a time, to revolutionize literacy in communities through love, faith, trust, and truth. We are a group who want literacy to be raised for Black people through the study of a full and rich and accurate history. And we commit ourselves to doing that weekly.
All right. There you go.
This is really
That's
hard,
awesome.
y'all. Our book club goes a really long time. Mama Toya, I'll get in trouble if I don't let you speak. She really is our fearless leader. It's really held us together in so many ways, and our evolution into literary society as well. So just want to give it up for Mama Toya. I can't look in there.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to give an applause to Elder Bill Patterson. Everybody give it up to Bill Patterson. I mean, it's hard to follow such history and such legacy, you know, and like my mother sent me to private schools as well. I went to a private elementary school, I went to a private high school, and then I went to a private college. So she really instilled that in me. And here lately, as I get a little older, I look back over my life and I want to ask my mother more and more questions about, you know, why was education so important? And yeah, she has dementia now. And she, well, you know what that means. But anyway, so I know Sharif El-Mekki, he's one of the 8 Black Hands. And he's like, come on, Toya, join this Patreon. So I joined the Patreon. And then I saw how much, I mean, we have 4 Black brothers with 8 Black hands and knowledge. So what I wanted to do for them was compile all their information that they were given to everyone. So then I joined this book club. And I said, wait, is that Dr. Charles up there? Where's he at? Is he over there somewhere? Is that you, Charles? So I nicknamed Charles Oakland. Okay. When he's preaching to me, telling me some knowledge, I'll call him Dr. Charles Cole. When he's a pain in my neck, I'll call him. Okay. So we're reading this book, and this is one of the things that I want everybody to remember. And he helped me to remember. We're reading this book, right? That book he was talking about, that 400-page book with all those high
Education of Blacks in the South.
From 1865 to 1930, right? Well, all those highfalutin words, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I cannot. And every time we started class, I was like, Charles, do me a favor, don't call on me. I'm in the room with like educators, doctors of ed. I'm just like, I'm intimidated, right? The third time I said it, this young man, Oakland, that's what I'm gonna call him now, Oakland, was like, no, Miss Toya, stop saying that. He said, aren't you a parent? And I'm like, yes. How old are your kids? 30, 31, and 24. He said, you got tons of knowledge. You hear that? You got tons of knowledge. And that's when he lit me on fire, okay? After that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dig in like I used to. So that was the beginning of this rage of me learning about like who I am, where I came from, where the education came from. And then I had these powerful sisters, right? El Michelle, she took me back to where my mom was. My mom was a factory worker. She never graduated from school, but she ensured that I did. I got Tanae like giving me powerful like insight. I got Jennifer, she's tutoring my kids, my grandkids. But what I want to say to everybody out there, this is also in honor of Dirk, right? So here I am, right, I'm gonna give it up for Dirk. So here I am, 60 years old, trying to like navigate technology, Zoom, Facebook Live, blah, blah, blah. And I ran into Dirk. And Dirk was like, you know what? We're gonna have a campaign. We're gonna go out in front of Comcast and protest because we need internet for all, especially for our children. I was like, wow, that sounds like a great idea. So he did this simultaneously in a few states, and mine was one. So, I mean, I know he's gonna laugh when I say this old broad, right? She's out in front of Comcast, got children, teachers, everybody's out there, right? And we're making our case. We're making our case. You know, and I never met the guy in person, but I felt his spirit. Not only did I feel his spirit, I just want to go into something else real quick.
Oh no. Yeah. No. we gotta go, Toya. We got a whole program.
No, you're not gonna shut me up. This ain't the Oscars. I'm gonna finish.
We not, but we gotta get out the building at a certain amount of time. So it's not the show.
Only about Dirk. Okay. It's about having a Facebook page for dementia care partners, and Dirk helping me support that, posting pictures of his garden daily.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Clap it up for these amazing ladies. And just briefly, the other two winners, I'm gonna do those in like three sentences for each. You heard enough about the 8 Black Hands, co-founded it with my brothers Chris Stewart, who's out of Minnesota, Ray Ankrum, who's out of New York, Sharif El Mekki, who's out of Philly, and me, who represents Oakland, and both Oakland and Chicago now. We've been going for almost 200 episodes, and we've obviously inspired a lot of folks. There's a lot of new podcasts that have jumped up, but this was the first podcast that had 4 Black men talking unapologetically about Black kids. And everybody from the Department of Education of New York and DC listens to that podcast. So thank you for that piece. And then I produced another piece around Black and Brown relations coming together, and that's called the South Star Classroom, with some of you know him, David Castillo, who is an amazing education champion here, and our brother Omar, who's out of Texas. And basically is me as the Black guy and these 2 brown folks. One is a California Mexican and one is a Texas Mexican. That's how they describe it. But talking about these issues, but the thing is that before, anytime something like it can't exist or we can't say that thing, you're right until you start saying it. But once one did it, then it opened the door for everybody. So thank you for being a part of that. And we're grateful to be able to have influenced that. I appreciate it. All right. There you go. What's next?
Thank you. So we're gonna go to a few people are trying to go to the concert. Y'all know that, right? Oh, wait, no, that Keith, what is Keith? What are you doing? You're not going. Charles just sped us up and got us on track. So we're gonna actually do emerging leaders. So on deck is Miss Cecily Frost, and also we're gonna do youth awards. Later on, you're gonna see that we're gonna honor Rachel Willis Henry, but this time, and Ms. Frost, why don't you go ahead and come on up here, and David Harden. Yeah. Gonna make some noise. So thank you for being here. So this is Emerging Leader Award again. She's trying to get someplace. And then David, you can come on up here as well. And Ms. Frost said to me, there was some honoring of Dirk in the community, and there was some honoring of Rachel. They deeply impacted us, many of us across this city. And Ms. Frost said, but how are the children? So she really kind of pinned it around, we also, said we're gonna pray for you, or we talk about memorializing, we talk about lifting people up. And I think that our words have power, and also our actions have so much power as well. And this is a woman of action, Ms. Frost. Thank you for being there on behalf of children. And I was explaining earlier that I didn't mean emerging leader as if y'all ain't already there. You are the leaders that we need right now. And so we appreciate you for all that you do. Ms. Frost started during the pandemic at Baytech, after having she's been in education a couple of decades, and look how young she looks.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. the emerging leader thing I like because it makes me feel really young. So I'm okay with that. I was like, you don't have to
Exactly.
count the years.
But I think what I experienced, and I think what SoBEO really stands about, is those next levels that people are going to. Where's the collective impact coming from? And so you have represented that. And I want us actually to take a moment, just a moment of silence, because Ms. Frost and her team and her students actually went through a tragedy, a school shooting last week, and that was on her campus. There were shells outside of her door. There were her staff members and colleagues that actually saved lives on that day. And so I just want to. And there are a few people where I saw Superintendent, Executive Director Seth Feldman, who's there in the orange Baytech shirt, leader at that campus. And Rich Harris there, Oh yes, great students. We're going to introduce them later. And one of our good partners, Fia, Kimmy Keen, I think she's over there, and Rich Harris. And so y'all can say what y'all want to say about the charter community and charter schools. These folks right here hold it down for young people. And we're not fighting over delivery systems up in here at SoBEO. We're talking about where's quality, what works. And so we thank you for that.
Thank you.
And so the reminder is like, well, how are Rachel's kids? Are people talking Rachel's kids? What's going on with Rachel's kids? And so I'm going to turn this over to David Aram because he's a good friend. Like he's going to tell the story of Rachel, which will lead us right into the Rachel Willis. So you're on deck. Get on deck. Wake the baby up because he came special to see you. So I'm going to hand it over to David Harden, who's an amazing Black educator. Your class, not class, you're 2022 too, right? 2020 SoBEO, impactful leader, leader of a charter school. All that. But his mama from Oakland. His mama's from Oakland, so she was an Oakland girl, and he came back to educate. So again, let me give you the mic, and tell us a little bit about Rachel's kids, please.
All right. Good evening. My name is David Harden. I'm the founder and executive director for a very special school here in Oakland called Arm Preparatory Academy. And ARM exists in large part due to Rachel Willis Henry. And so I'm gonna start not with my own words, but with the words of W. Du Bois. To increase an abiding satisfaction for the mass of our people and for all people, someone must sacrifice something of their own happiness. This is a duty only to those that recognize it as a duty. It is silly to tell intelligent human beings, be good and you will be happy. You may be desperately unhappy. You may even be crucified, dead, and buried. And on the third day, you'll be just as dead as the first. But with the death of your happiness may easily come increased happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment for other people. Strangers, unborn babes, uncreated worlds. If this is not sufficient incentive, never try it. Remain hogs. I think Rachel best exemplified those words. And so I'm actually going to start out just really quickly talking about the story of Rachel Willis Henry and how I got to know Jamani and Jemiah so well. Rachel was at the time, 7 years ago, working at a job she wasn't quite happy with. And I had come and spoken at Axville Gospel Church. And she was so inspired that she joined and she would come to our parent meetings. She rallied other parents and she came to an OUSD public hearing. If you've ever been to one of those, you know it's a lot of fun. So, Jamoka knows. So in all seriousness, she brought the house down. And CCSA asked me, they said, who is that? And they were like, can we hire her? I was like, as long as you don't take her from me. and that got her started in organizing. And I just want to show you a quick clip of that. If you could cut the video.
I want to be very clear who I am. My name is Rachel Willis Henry. I am a parent who has started working with David from the very beginning. Midstream, I had the opportunity to be employed by CCSA, and I've still worked hard to be a parent organizer to build the community. I actually live in Deep East Oakland, and many of the parents here who are in opposition do not live in my area. I want to first start by saying that. Someone spoke about Parker Elementary. Well, when ARM was denied, I tried to enroll my son in Parker Elementary. And because it is an elementary going into middle, he was denied. He was not allowed in. So what are my options? What do you tell me for my son? They talked about experimentation. Well, what's going on in OUSD is not working. If it takes an experiment to work with my child to give him a better opportunity, then we've got to try and we've got to start somewhere. There are plenty of experiments that now give us medicine to live for today. I want to talk about with this school opening, what that will mean for our parents in Oakland whose heart is, they feel hopeless. They feel like they have nowhere to go. So with this school opening, I can guarantee you they will flock. Telling them we have a school opening doesn't always secure that they're going to put their kid right there. I'm jumping for it. But if the school is opening, then they will be there. And I spoke about this the last time I was here. My son, Jemani, who is now going to the 6th grade, will not be able to attend. But this little girl, Jemiah, has an opportunity to go to that school and flourish. She raised her hand. So I just want to please ask that you support Arm Prep because my community needs it. Thank you.
Rachel was a powerhouse. And Jemani and Jemiah are powerhouses too. It's very strange, the story that's been woven between us. At the time, several years ago, I served as the interim head of school for East Bay Innovation, and Jemani attended East Bay Innovation. He couldn't go to my school because he was too old when we actually started. And then once Rachel passed, they had moved out to Vallejo, and Jemiah unfortunately couldn't attend my school. But through a series of several events, I'm so excited to say that the powerhouse is back, and now Jemiah is attending Arm Prep Academy. So I couldn't be more honored to honor Jemiah and Jemani and Rachel's history, and thank you all so much.
While Miss Mama Connie and Michael get on deck, I actually do want to give Miss Frost a little opportunity because she really was the one who inspired it. And I want to call, they're not feeling well. Tonight, two of them had sore throats and one is having an asthma problem. And so pray for them, and Maisha is definitely like moving around trying to take care of them. So here, let me get off the mic. And I just want to give you, a minute or two to speak because again, she is teaching, she taught those children.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that clip of Rachel. I never met Rachel, but I certainly felt her spirit in those students. So please watch over them, take care of them, and make sure that they carry on her legacy. Thank you. First, I just wanted to give honor to those who before me who have paved the way, and those working alongside me, which is so many of you here tonight. I'm looking around and seeing so many people who are community leaders and city leaders, and we've gotten certainly some of us closer within the last week, but definitely, we will continue to work together for our students. And then of course, my kids who will continue to do the work and service. So I would like to not say too much. I've been saying a whole lot lately. I don't know if you all follow me now, but there's so much work to be done, and please stay encouraged and be encouraged. So thank you all for working alongside me. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, wow. Thank you.
She also saved my life too. It's Michael, where are you? Michael, I was saying get on deck for a minute now. You want to come on up here too, please, Mama?
Is he standing with me? Am I leaving?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Come on up, Mama Williams. Hey. I also want to say that I knew God rest her soul, Rachel Henry Willis, when I first came to Oakland in 2015. I worked with her at the California Charter School Association, and she was just such an amazing spirit. And I'm so happy now that her two kids are over at Skyline now, so I'm able to watch over them and keep them also great. All right. So we're gonna go to our parent award, our Rachel Wilson Henry award right now. So I'm gonna do my introductions of Mama Williams. When I was doing a lot of that work with California Charter Schools Association, she was a parent warrior, very outspoken, loved her babies, and went to battle to make sure that they got the quality education that they deserve. So she was always dear to my heart. And now I actually call her my mama, and she calls me her son. So I'm gonna read a quick bio from Ms. Williams before we get to her award. Mama Williams is no stranger to Oakland. She has 4 beautiful daughters, 21 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. Her children all attended OUSD schools. Her grandchildren attended Lighthouse Community Public Charter School. Lighthouse, where you at? Where she advocated faithfully to secure support for special education with Lighthouse Community Public Charter School. She truly loves doing the work of the Lord. Amen. Hallelujah. Can I get a hallelujah? We got a collection plate going on later on. She holds the titles of church mother, licensed missionary, and ordained minister. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Mama Williams volunteers in the community, feeding the needy and providing clothing 2 Saturdays a month. Mama Williams is, again, no stranger for the rights of her children and her grandchildren. She is a founding member of the Oakland Reach. Woo! Let's give it up for Oakland Reach, where she stays connected with her Reach family while raising community awareness about all children's equality, social justice, social inclusion, and human rights to a great education. Mama Williams strives to achieve her goals in the most straightforward and empowering ways possible. This is why Mama Williams is getting this Parent Warrior Award this evening. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for Mama Williams for all the work that she's done. You got any words for us? 1 to 2 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes. Okay.
I just want to say thank you for this award. And as I laid there, I was like, am I strong enough to make it tonight? I was in a really terrible, bad car accident, so my body hurts. 2-time cancer survivors while I'm wearing pink.
God is good. God is good.
And 1-year survivor of ovarian cancer. So y'all keep me in your prayers.
Thank you. Oh, let me give it to you. There you go. I don't want you to forget this, Mama.
As we give Mama Williams her award that much deserved, I get to introduce the next brother. But before we do that, man, if y'all don't let it loose for that woman, man, and everything she done been through and what she done did, she gave y'all a testimony. She putting y'all before her own health, man. She putting these babies before her own health. And a lot of people don't know this is also my auntie. My auntie was married to her baby brother, and yes, so she's my aunt. But I get to honor this next brother, and this brother is powerful. And we talk about education and we talk about parents. Sometimes there's a group we forget, and that's Black fathers, and that's Black men. And I think sometimes we forget how important they are and how a room shifts when that Black man steps in there and represents for his kids. And so this next brother has done just that. Not only did he serve this great nation in the armed forces, but he came back and he made sure his kids didn't have the same type of education that he got. And he shows up and he shows out. I've had the pleasure of working with this brother. I've been able to see his growth, and he is not somebody you want to play with or trifle with, especially when it comes to his kids. And because he looks at your kids like his, he is an incredible protector of all of Oakland's kids. Everybody give a good welcome to Mike. 2 minutes, brother. It's my honor, but 2 minutes though.
I promise I'm gonna keep it short. But I'm almost flabbergasted. This is such a tremendous honor to me. I was lucky enough to meet Dirk, and actually got to get his blessing, to kind of keep and carry it on. It's way too important to me that we show our kids something different. I was born and raised in East Oakland, 94 from Plymouth, part of the kill zone, as they say. That being said, our kids need to see something different than dudes with their pants down around their knees. They need to see something different than rims. I went to the military. I worked for the post office, for years. I've worked some of every job that you could think of on a flip pizzas, on a delivered food, all to show my kids though, and all of the rest of our kids in this city, that there's a different way. There's something else that we can be. And please and believe, I'm the first person to fight because I'm ready. I've showed up at every board meeting as possible. There are now school board members that refuse to sit in the same room with me. And all I'm doing is telling the truth. It's not like I'm telling them anything different than they don't already know is going on. The only thing that makes it different is because it's coming from a Black man and a father at that. And so my promise is to keep the energy and the spirit of Rachel and Dirk alive. I'm gonna keep this fight going. I will not flinch, and I will look them in their face every time, and I will hold everybody in this city accountable until it is right. And with that, thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Go. Give it up for that Black man.
Okay, we're gonna keep this energy. I like this energy. Thank you guys, everyone, for being here, representing tonight. I get my chance. So just so you know, I'm Kenan Scott, he, him. I am with Bitwise Industries, but before that, I was at OUSD. I was a teacher in West Oakland Middle. Then I was the manager of computer science for the whole district. And somewhere in that transition, I met a gentleman named Dirk Tillotson, and he became a mentor. He became a savior of sorts. He became someone who actually allowed me, and I'll wait for this because I'll give a second. I'm gonna give a second because it's Dirk. This Dirk, baby. 3, 2, and 1. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. What I'm getting to, for all y'all that don't know, is in 2019, I got the chance to stand on the other side of this and receive an award as an impact educator in Oakland. Thank you, SoBEO. And thank you to my long lost brother, Dirk, because he saw something in me that I never saw, that I didn't know possible, that I didn't know how to activate. But before Dirk, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, there were other people in my life, in my teaching career and in my professional development that saw things in me that I didn't know were possible. And I get the chance right now to elevate some folks who got me to that place in 2019, where I won that award from SoBEO as an impact educator. These are people that along the way, not only motivated me, but taught me. They nurtured my professional skills. They made sure that I showed up for Black children in West Oakland in the best way possible. So first, I get to show some love. I know you're not at Ojai anymore, but at a time that I started to learn how to teach engineering to students at West Oakland, I was learning it alongside Diane Johnson. At a time, that's right. At a time when we were trying to make engineering cool, culturally relevant, and accessible to our children, I was doing that alongside Diane Johnson. So today I get to share the love of an impact educator with a now retired, but definitely known throughout the entire district. Where you at, Miss Johnson? Please join me. You got a wonderful 2 minutes, but I know you breathe. This is Diane Johnson, y'all.
Thank you. I am honored. And in the spirit of Dr. Charles, I give honor to God, who is the head of my life. I'm just saying I am so thankful and pleased to be here on tonight. I thank everyone for this award. Karan, my brother from another mother, my South African colleague, who was right there as a Fulbright scholar. Yes, we are Fulbright scholars. I just want to say there's so many people in this room who have touched my life. I'm going to go back though but my siblings are here, my tribe is here, my family. They know I'm standing on the shoulders of my father and my mother. He couldn't go to college,
but it was his dream for his children to do so. And he had 5 of us, 6 of us. So with his help, I went to UC Berkeley, got a math degree, worked in Silicon Valley for 16 years, got married, had kids, and then I stepped back and I says, I'm doing okay, but I want to make sure other families are doing okay. So I went into education. I felt like as a Black woman with a math degree, I could make a difference. And so I piloted some math programs. One of my students came back years later and says, and they were calling me at 9 o'clock at night, Miss Johnson, help me. And I would. And it was a great impact for him to come back later and hand me his business card. He said, every time I do my payroll, I think about you. It was a pleasure working with Keenan. I was so impressed because he is an engineer. I'm not an engineer, but when we started the Project Lead the Way Engineering Academy, I pay homage to Dr. Ali Whitehurst. She started the Academy model some 30 years ago. So it was really exciting for me, and respect and honor to her, to be the first founding member of the Engineering Academy at Oakland High. And I did that for 5 years. And while I was there, many of our students graduated as the valedictorians, salutatorians. And I recruited as many Black kids as I could, and they got full rides, y'all. Princeton, Morehouse. And I also want to give homage to my sons. They helped me tell me what to do and what not to do, and they are Morehouse graduates. So I just want to say, there's another Morehouse man in the house. I also was affiliated with the NAACP. I see President George Holland. I got my single subject credential from Dr. Kimberly Mayfield in Holy Names. So I'm touched by a lot of people in this room. And I just want to say, I stand here humble. There's so many unsung heroes who I represent. I'm not the only one, but I want to thank you and appreciate you. And you all make it a good night.
Thank you so very much. Give it up for Diane Johnson, Miss Johnson. If you know, in case you know. I just had some of my students, the Wayne twins, they just graduated with her right before she retired. So I'm stoked for that. I got to keep the generations going. So I know this is not about me at all. I swear it's about Dirk. It's really about Dirk. But it just so happens that the people I get to honor tonight have been not only impactful in my life, but also in the city and the work that we've been trying to do together. So right now, I get to give an award. This is the National Influencer Award. This is the award that I call Data in Action. This is an award to 2 folks who represent the Capeware Center. More than just a building that we're in, most of you may not know, the Capeware Center is leading our efforts to diversify the tech industry. Our #1 industry in this region is healthcare, and #2, tech. It is an invisible industry to most of the students that I taught at West Oakland Middle School. They didn't know it was possible for them. They never saw themselves in those seats, and they never saw themselves earning those high wages. But the people who are moving into West Oakland right now sure do. And they sure feel entitled to the space that my students live in right now. Data was more than just numbers to Dirk Tillotson. Data informed decisions. Data informed how we create movements. Data told us where to go and how to do it with fervor and with intention. I am fortunate enough right now to give an award to Dr. Allison Scott and Lily Gangas of the Capeware Center for doing just that. If you have not seen their most recent, yes, give it up. Come on now, come on, ladies. Y'all can join me. Both of these impactful women have been parts of my life. They have helped me along my professional career, but the truth of the matter is, we got a research scientist here, someone who actually understands data, and someone who pushes policy from the grassroots to the grass tops. And I know that's how Dirk would have loved to talk about it. So I am honored today to present you both with an award for the Capeware Center, but really for the work you are doing to take data and make it actually change lives here in Oakland.
I promise we will be brief. Thank you, Kenan, so much. And honestly,
he's underplaying the importance that he has had here in Oakland in bringing computer science to young people and making it a very inspiring, engaging subject so that they have the breadth of careers and opportunities at their fingertips. So thank you to you, Kenan. So very briefly, we're here at the Kapor Center. The mission and the purpose of this organization, we're at the intersection of racial justice and technology. We think that technology actually has great potential to close gaps of access and opportunity, to serve communities of color, and yet that potential has not been realized. So we have work to do. And we are also standing here, and I told Lily, I was like, I'm not good at this. I don't want to start tearing up, y'all. So y'all got to bear with me. Okay. We're also standing here in honor of Dirk's legacy. One of the first projects that we got to work on with Dirk was looking at data around computer science education and around broadband and saying, what can we do with this data and how can we use this data to inform the policies, the advocacy efforts, the strategies needed so that we can ensure all of our Black students have access. And again, thank you to Kenan for all of the work you've done here in Oakland. And there's still a great deal of work to be done. So we need more Black teachers. We need more Black computer science teachers. We need to treat teachers with the respect that they deserve. We need to pay teachers better. We need engaging and culturally responsive curriculum that doesn't just talk about computing as coding, but talks about ways that young people can critique the technology industry and hold it accountable. And we need to mobilize still to ensure all of our students have access to computer science education here in Oakland and California and nationally. So in Dirk's memory, we will be unapologetic about demanding access, opportunity, and ensuring Black excellence in education. It's my huge honor. Thank you, Kenan. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here and all of the work that you do every day.
And I'll follow that by saying thank you to each of you that is here. As an educator, as a parent, as a community member, as Dirk's friends, Dirk supporters, and also as Oakland residents. My name is Lily Gangas. I'm the Chief Technology Community Officer of the Kapor Center. And I had the privilege and honor to work with Dirk really closely and looking at the data and making sure we were also holding the city accountable for who had access to fast enough internet, who had access to the right laptops, who had access to the resources. And we know that at the peak of the pandemic, a little bit over half of our kids in OUZ and charter schools were not connected. And so Dirk and I were like, I got the chance to actually meet him through Allison and Kenan through an online webinar, really thinking about these issues. And as the pandemic hit, we really started to question who doesn't have access and who does, right? And so as the data shared, we're like, all right, we got to make sure that we also move into action. So I really saw Dirk as a mentor, as a leader who was helping me really question the things that we need to do and how do we actually get out of our homes and into the community. And so I just want to thank him and honor him for his role and his inspiration, but also his prone to solutions and not only just calling out the gaps, but also really moving towards solutions. And if that meant that we needed to be on foot, that we needed to be on those calls, that's exactly what we did. And fast forward to where we're at now, thanks to his work and really calling in, but also calling out the discrepancies, we were able to center the priorities of Black Latinx students in making sure that they were getting connected. We were able to advocate for about $26 million be prioritized for the city of Oakland, for middle mile. And I wanna thank Dirk for questioning and really pushing that forward, because if it wasn't for him starting the dialogue and really pushing and holding the city accountable, I think we would have been forgotten. So with all that said, we're doing the work. We're gonna continue to do the work, and it's a very, very important time for Oakland, a very important next few years to making sure that we get the infrastructure to level the playing field so that everyone has an access to the digital innovation that is all around us. So with that said, thank you so much. And thank you to you all, and we're done because I know it's
Give it up, y'all. Thank you so much, Lily, Dr. Allison. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much. And thank you for allowing us this wonderful tech-enabled space. Like, let's just be real. Shout outs to Antoinette. Shout outs to Joe. I see y'all right there. Shout out to the whole Kapor team for making sure. Yeah, I'm like, Jennifer, there's a lot. There we go. Okay, so Got to make sure we show love. We have this venue. We have this ability to celebrate each other and also take a moment to sit and reflect. I'm gonna let y'all know when Jamoke said we were gonna do this, I was worried. Dirk was, so much to me. In the time past his death, I took time to mourn. As Black people, we don't take the time to mourn. We get up and we go and we press on and we don't sit and we don't relax and sit with the memory of our fallen soldiers, our fallen brothers, our fallen sisters. I took the time to mourn before jumping back in to try to do some work. I jumped in to do more of the Access, I call it Access Lit, but it's a continuation of Dirk's online series where Lily was a wonderful guest. I got to be a guest. And I just wanted to take a moment to let y'all know that this is a space where we are honoring Dirk, and that man meant so much to me. So, with that said, he saw something in me that I didn't see. I told y'all that, right? And there's a through line here. Before that even happened, I was an engineer, as Dr. Allison Scott said. I was a civil engineer. Actually, it was you, Ms. Johnson. You said I was a civil engineer, and I was trying to figure out why there were not as many Black engineers. I wasn't that smart. I was like an A+ student, right? I didn't show up to school all the time. I didn't do all the things. But I got to graduate, but I was the only graduating Black engineer of my class. I didn't understand how that was possible. So I went upstream, and that's how I ended up trying to find my passion in a classroom, trying to figure out why it is that our students don't see themselves if they don't see others like me, who have done it, who have made it there. And along the way, I would have never, I swear to you, I would have never been successful as a teacher in any way, shape, or form without the help of an incredible group called Teach Tomorrow in Oakland. I mean, y'all should know about TTO. If you don't know about TTO, then check it out, because some of the best teachers, principals, administrators, people who are making change in education have come through that program. At the earliest parts of that, I had no idea what a classroom would look like. I didn't know what good teaching would look like. I didn't know how to show up in front of my children, my youth, my future leaders. I had none of that in my pocket. I had none of those tools. I had some curriculum that I learned with Ms. Johnson. But along the way, there was an incredible educator, and I'm gonna cry because I get to give this award right now. This is the Emerging Black Educator Award to Dr. Sabrina Moore, who before I stepped in the classroom told me, forget what everybody calls it. Good teaching is good teaching. Bottom line, show up with intention for your students. Show up every day with that intention. Forget what they did yesterday. Come back ready. Come back stronger. Come back with more passion to make sure that what you came here for is actually achieved. Known as Bree, but not Dr. Sabrina Moore, I am so honored to be able to give you something back for everything that you gave to me. Can we get the award, please? My God, I'm gonna cry up here, y'all. This is Dr. Sabrina Moore, and she gonna tell you all the things she do.
I so needed today. So needed this moment. So needed this space. So needed your faces, this energy, the love, the spirit of Dirk, this moment. I'm Bree. Yeah, I got that doctorate. It's real shiny and new though. It's like fresh. It's just the dissertation just came in the mail. But the book is coming. Get ready. Get your money ready. And I've been a teacher in Oakland. I've been a student in Oakland. I'm born and raised from the 20s. Murders, we'll call it whatever you want to. And I was a teacher, and every year after students would leave me, teachers would come and they say, what did you do? How do I help them? And I kept saying, well, what happens after me? And so I skipped that whole become a teacher of special assignment, become an AP, and I went straight to the principalship. I don't know. I was tripping, but I did it, and I did it well. And I did it well because I did it with community. I wasn't by myself. I started with a lot of teachers who didn't look like me, and then ended up with a staff that was 90% Black women, intentionally, on purpose. And I say all that to say, as I moved through the principalship, I started to ask that same question: what happens after us? Because our kids were leaving elementary school confident and proud and advocating for themselves and asking great questions. And they'd go to middle school and they say, well, what did y'all do? And why don't they have a discipline record? Because they're not doing the same thing here. And I started to say to myself, what do I need to do in order for this energy that happened when I was in the classroom, then when I was a principal, to be across this city? And then I birthed, or me and a bunch of phenomenal Black and brown women birthed 3 L's: literacy, leadership, and liberation, which is a one neighborhood at a time literacy ecosystem. It's about community, it's about listening, it's about partnership, it's about our kids and our families understanding what does it mean for our students to be literacy. When we say that literacy is a civil right, that ain't no joke. That our lives, our wealth, our futures are tied to how literate we are. And if we don't nobody can educate ours like we can. And I fully believe in order for us to change the outcomes to have the outcomes that we want to be true in this city, in this nation, across this country, we got to be to do different. And that is the work that I do. That's the work that I will continue to do. I'm going to die doing this. I love doing this. And I needed this moment. We always need a reset. Thank you, Jesus.
I love you so. I'm telling y'all, I've been lucky. Because I got, of all the beautiful women that have impacted my life, I'm gonna hand it over to a brother, younger brother somehow. I don't even know how that's possible, but you go on and take the helm. You do it.
It's all good.
I don't know how you younger and did so much more than me. Whatever.
Y'all give it up for Bree and her story and also her kicks. Hold on, and look at Bree's shoes though. Come back here, Bree. Y'all didn't see Bree's kicks. Because we fresh, because these the Black Awards and we wear shoes.
Right, fresh out the box tonight, just for y'all.
Get her book when it comes out. So we're about to go into the Spirit of Dirk Award. And again, we've talked about Dirk all night. I have skirted around talking about Dirk tonight strategically. Dirk was very, very, very close to me. He was a friend, he was a mentor. We co-founded SoBEO together, energy converters, so many different things. The Agentic Institute, which I just started, he was, in that process with me. And during the pandemic, he was doing these, he was trying to bring people together. And I couldn't make it because I moved. I was raised here in Oakland. I've been in Oakland since I was 10, but I moved back to Chicago where I was born. And but he would put these together, and I wasn't able to be there. But he left a list of names of people that he wanted to connect with. And I just want to call those names out. All of them are not here, some are, but he wanted us to talk to Ahmed Muhammad, Arvella Hayden, Kimberly Mayfield, Ed Washington, a few other people. Yeah, these were people that he might not have known, but he knew the fruits that they bear, and he wanted to work with them because that's who Dirk was. Dirk is not a person that likes the spotlight. He is not a person that needs you to know his name. A lot of y'all don't know that he had a whole other business and a whole other life in New York. And he also had one here. So there are friends from Oakland and friends from New York meeting each other for the first time. And all of us are tied together by the glue that is Dirk Tillison. He was one of the kindest souls. And he was the yin to my yang, where I tend to be a little bit more out there and a little more aggressive. He would calm me down a lot. So when we talk about the spirit of Dirk, all these people that have gotten awards have a piece of him there. And everybody that is here, even the children here that might be nodding off, if you are here, God put you in this building for a reason. And your job is to take a piece of this and how you can do a little bit. If we all do a little bit, it all adds up to a lot. So we want to honor that brother, and we want to honor those people. And for this next part to kind of bring us, we getting to the end, y'all. Hang in there with us, you know what I mean? At least we ain't asked y'all for 3 different offerings, okay? You know what I'm saying? Because we could do that. It's time to get, anyway, Karan Brunson, why don't you step up here with me? Because there are we have the distinct pleasure of giving out these 2 awards, and I'm gonna let this brother go first. Have we clapped it up for Karan yet, though? Have we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Benny, what's up? We coming back. We coming back.
Yeah, we're gonna get up there. I'm gonna call him up at the right time because I got a story for him. Don't give it away, Paul. We got this.
Yes.
Theater. All right. So but I just want to say, I just wanted to say something about Karan real quick. I've known Karan go through. I know. I appreciate it. Okay.
We love you, Benny. We love you.
Oh, I'm gonna thoroughly embarrass Benny. It's fine. It's coming. I promise you. But Karan, we've been doing this work for a long time, and these years have just kind of added and added and added on. And I remember when you were starting out as a teacher, and I remember those frustrations. To now, this brother sticking in it and being an AP. We need to give some praise for that. Y'all not understanding. You not
Answer the doctor right here.
Wait.
Let's give it up to the doctor right here.
But let me finish you giving your flowers. Y'all not understanding how hard it is for those first year Black male teachers that they set up to fail, that they just send all the Black kids to their classroom and then say, your class not doing well enough, so we gotta let you go. You don't understand like the stuff that these people go through, and for you to stick into it and now step into admin. I hope and pray that you become the admin that you needed and that you wish you had. And with that, brother, go ahead and give out your award.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I haven't had a chance to talk about the impact that Dirk has had on my life. You know, as Dr. Cole talked about, I met Dirk when I was just starting out as a teacher here in Oakland, and he gave me the space, he gave me the avenue, he gave me my voice through Great School Voices. Anybody interested writing for it, or I would love to do that, or you would love to do that. But he's like Post been saying, he saw something in me. He gave me the space. I'll be, you know, having a beer with Dirk out at Degrees Plato. And he's like, man, why don't you write about it? I'm telling him about my frustrations of being a teacher, me being non-reelected by the district for no reason. And, you know, me being pushed here, pushed there, not getting the support that I needed. Like, you know, like Dr. Cole said, giving me all the students and with no support, right? But I made it happen, and I'm still here today. Amen. So thank you so much, Dirk, for loving me, giving me the space, and allowing me to be in front of you guys today, because without Dirk, I wouldn't be here right now. So I want to thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Now, I want to take us to a beautiful, beautiful, phenomenal woman here in Oakland, California, Miss Oralee Brown, who's right here, who always looking good and always on point. I'm just saying though, when I saw her tonight, I was like, I see you. I see you every single time, Miss Oralee Brown. Come on up here, Miss Oralee. Got the heels on and everything. Come on. Here. So I had the awesome job of interviewing Miss Oralee Brown back in June. We also did a podcast through Great School Voices on Juneteenth to make sure that folks continue to remember the legacy that continues to live on for Oralee Brown. Miss Oralee Brown, she was a great friend of Dirk. She's going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to read a little bio and also some excerpts from the writing that I did for Great School Voices. Oralee Brown is accustomed to hard work and challenges, having left poverty in the Mississippi Delta, relocating to California as a young woman. Ora worked during the day and attended school at night while raising her 3 daughters. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of San Francisco with the confidence and determination to make her next professional move. She attained her real estate broker's license and went on to become the owner. Let me say that one more again. The owner of Nationwide Realty here in Oakland, California. Miss Brown had an office at 83 East 14th, and every day she would go into the neighborhood corner store and purchase a Pepsi and a bag of peanuts. On September 17th, 1987, her daily stop at the corner store was an unusual one, as she encountered a little girl who asked for a quarter. Brown only had a $5 bill on her, and she asked the little girl to come on to the store with her. The young child picked up Wonder Bread, bologna, and cheese. This was very unique because most kids would have purchased candy, but not this young lady. After purchasing those items, Brown and the girl parted ways, but she left such an impact on Ms. Brown, so much so that she was determined to find her. Brown went to Brookfield Elementary, which is the neighborhood school, in search of the little girl. Despite not finding her, Brown decided to stay involved with the school and decided to adopt the first grade class back in 1987. Brown's vision became to support those at-risk students in whatever ways that were essential to gaining a quality education. From there, she started her very own trust account with Home Savings of America and would annually deposit $10,000 of her personal income to educate her babies.
Come on,
Don't
Mrs.
say it ain't
Brown.
possible.
Let's go.
Don't say it ain't possible. And her salary was only $45,000 a year, but she committed to a $10,000 a year for this class at Brookfield Elementary. And 36 years later of working, she never missed an annual deposit to the trust, except in 2008 when the recession hit. You know, it was tough, but you know what? She contributed $5,000 even that year. So throughout the years, Ms. Brown has been awarded a plethora of recognitions, honors, and awards. She's been on the Today Show. She's been on the Oprah Show, right? She's got pictures in her office on 9901, 2020. Yep. Woman of the Year Award, the Pioneer Achievement Award by the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Humanitarian of the Year Award by the East Bay Agency for Children, many, 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 many more. Let's give it up for the illustrious Miss Ora B. Brown. Thank you for your service.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
You know, thank you so very much. But this is not about me today, and it has never been about me. Let me say a little bit about Dirt. You know, Dirt was someone that he just appeared in my life and he never left. He would give me the best advice ever. I remember in 2010, we talked about the boarding school. And Dirt sat there and wrote a proposal to the state for a charter school, and they awarded it to me. And he came back and he said, no, we are not gonna take it. We want a boarding school. That was the type of person he was. And he would just do things and you would read about it somewhere else. He would call me and we would go and have coffee. 2 weeks before his death, I checked my mail midnight and all times of night. And it was a donation there for $10,000 and said, wow, what a beautiful write-up. So I got up, you know, $10,000 will make you get up. And it was an article that Dirt had written. And I couldn't wait till 7:30 because I didn't want to disturb him. And I called him and I said, oh my God, Dirt, what was that about? He said, that's something that I should have done a long time ago. And I guess within the next maybe a week to 2 weeks, we received about $28,000. And I had called him and he said, okay, we will go out. I said, you know what? I gotta go have a little minor surgery. When I get back, I will give you a call. Saturday, after the surgery and everything, I received a call from Dr. Ida Oberman, a friend of Dirt's and mine. And she said, how are you feeling? I said, I'm feeling fine. She said, I think I need to tell you something. And I said, what? Go ahead. She said, Dirt is gone. I said, no, I talked to him. He's not going back to New York right now. She said, no, he's gone. And so it shows you how fast life can leave us. So if I would just say one thing that would reflect Dirt, you know, as we go through this life, it should not be about us and me. It should be about what can I do to lift someone else up, or what can I do to help someone else? So I made a mission that in my life, I would try to help young people because I truly believe in education is one thing that we can give a child and no one can take it away. So to Karan and to Jamoko and all of the staff, thank you guys so very much.
Let's stand up, everyone. Please, let's stand up for Miss Oralee Brown and the work that she has done for the children of Oakland. Let's stand up for her. Thank you, Miss Oralee. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Keep it going for her, man. Keep it going. $10,000 a year off a $45,000 salary in the Bay Area. Come on, man. Don't tell me what our people can't do. With that said, this next brother, I was the last person that joined the SoBEO founding crew. Jamoke brought me in, and when I got there was this brother, Benny, and we instantly hit it off. And Benny and I are like the technical people. Benny is the person that can take the ideas that you got and turn them into videos and can turn it into.
So when you're in the middle of the meeting, there they go off on the latest XB, QB, megabyte, something.
So since Jamoke just took that liberty, I'm gonna take one back. See, Jamoke has beautiful visions of grandeur. She wants this to happen at the event. She wants a million things. She wants 5-hour events and all that. But here's the thing. Charles and Benny, mostly Benny, has to put that together. And that's 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So Jamoke and I would fight in this as love. And I would say, Jamoke, that is a beautiful vision. You don't know how to build none of that. But Benny did. And not only did Benny know how to build it, Benny also has a heart for young people. And he's been an incredible person with young people. And he is so dynamic. He is so dope. And he is so amazing. And I want everybody to help me in joining. He just welcomed his second child just recently. It's a beautiful, beautiful baby. But Benny has become one of my best friends. We have continued to do work. We continue to build reports that talk about our kids, that talk about our community. There's a book that I worked on that came out today that it would not have happened without Benny, called Stop Hustling Backwards. Everything I do, Benny is embedded in. I love him. He is my brother, and nothing will ever change that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Benny Patterson.
First of all, I think that we need to talk to somebody about asking me to talk after Charles, because that is always a bad decision. I always call him one of the best orators that I know. So much love to him. Much love to the SoBEO crew, the founding crew. Really appreciate and got deep love for all of y'all. I'm not much of a speaker. I'm the background guy that just grind it out just to make stuff happen. But there's a quote that I live by that makes me think of Dirk. And it's at the end of my life, I want to stand before God empty and said, I used everything that you gave me. And I think that is something that Dirk lived by. I also think that he touched everybody that he came in contact with. And one of the things that was really true to his soul and really a fueling kind of part of our relationship was, if you ain't doing it in service for or for the benefit of Black people, then 9 times out of 10, he don't got a lot of time to talk to you about it. So, much love to the crew again. Much love to the founding partners, and long live my brother Dirk.
And Benny, we have your award here. We will get it mailed to you, brother. We love you, man. And it's good to see you, brother. And go ahead, Jamoke.
What?
That's what's up. So I'm done. Okay.
We got one more. Paul, come on up to the stage. Paul's coming back.
So I called an audible last night as I was finalizing the program and stuff like that. And the one person I think that I've spoken to and spent the most time with is the one dancing around the back. She's the first person I saw when I moved to New York, from Oakland to Oakland. And I wrote this thing that says, Jamoke Hinton, organizer, leader, soul, for holding and manifesting SoBEO's truth. This whole event was planned in 5.5 weeks. Yes. It was executed by homegirl right here. So I just went to honor her and call attention to how much she means to SoBEO and organization and to everyone here. So.
Yay. So what they call me is, they kind of call me Oprah, because I'd be like, they get an award, and then you got to get it. Because I was going to get the 2 babies with, and then, Rachel has 5 children. Like, it wasn't just the 2 children that we kind of knew. She had raised other children. There was a baby that came after she passed away, right? And his name is Jaku, and it means bring together, right? So we do have to see each other. We do have to like connect with each other and grow and build with one another. And so there's this sister, Iris Crawford, who's graduating from MIT. Yep. Something like she already graduated. She hella brilliant. Yeah. And Iris thought she was gonna quit, and it didn't happen. Cause I know she is. That's because this is a tribute to y'all. So let's, because where is she at? Because whoa, and the sister, you know how we are talking about we connected. I know we gotta reach out. That's why I try to do the national award, because we be in our little circle in Oakland, and we love each other. We really we forget how much we really do love each other. And the point was that Iris was here in Oakland, and I don't know all of her story, but she was amazing and beautiful. And Lanice Jones, I was like, child, we need someone in SoBEO to help us. And so she, no, it was help. It was really help Dirk, because Dirk really was holding all this down, y'all. So, right. Okay, so now let's turn it into a conversation. It's time to go. So the point is and really Iris, is she on here? Where's she at? So Iris is like, I'm going to graduate school. Bye. Love y'all, Oakland. Whoop. It was great. It was real. And then she couldn't go. Like she couldn't go. Dirk had passed away. And so frankly, like there's energy given to me about holding this together, but like really, y'all, sometimes like it is the infrastructure. It is the people that like made sure the blogs continue to go out. you know, where my boy Paul? Paul has the data analytics. Like Dirk did what? 263 blogs. 200 what? 53 by himself. And so, but it was Iris, right? That was like right in those trenches with him in the end and saw that process and continued to work with us. And so just giving honor to her. She's in Boston someplace. I don't know where she's going. I think she's really from Philly. Where are you from? Where's she at? She from New York. She from the East Coast. She may not come back to Oakland, y'all. But she was the bomb. And she was beautiful and she's amazing. She's a part of WAPA. And also like she's an environmentalist. That's her thing. That's her thing, and a journalist and a writer. And so we're gonna have a QR. This is closing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought it's closing. Yeah, because of Manisha over there.
Yes.
So I want to give thanks to Manisha Patel. Come on over here. She hates this part. So this is Unity. This is a sister who with Dirk and Internet for All. She's at Lighthouse Community Charter. Before that, she was at the district, trying to work it out for all of us. And so thank you so much. I mean, this actually, everybody from SoBEO, get up here real quick so there can be a really good photo moment. But I would like to thank FIA, Families in Action.
Come on, Keys.
And actually, I would actually like the NAACP to stand of Oakland. Over here, my people. This is he'll get over here eventually. This is President George Holland. I think you should be in the picture too. Antoinette, you should be in the picture. Come on over here. Everybody.
I'm not black, so I'll be in this picture. Manisha here, you good, bro.
Okay. Excuse me, we're in the closing. And I'd like to thank the Kapoor Center. And that's all them, Joe over there. So it's like, that was not in the scope, but he did it anyway. Led Better. You heard Paul in the amazingness, right? Yeah. Paul was a dude that we sent our invoices to. But now he's here with Bristol. Bristol's here too.
Bristol, I love you to death, Jamoke.
Okay, come on. I'm on time. They said I was still on time. They said I was on time.
Do it.
The Rogers Family Foundation. It is Maya Klein's like 15th, 16th birthday. That little girl I used to like when I sat on the school board. She was like the little baby in the back of the room that got me through. Yeah. And I think she's turned 15 or 16 right now. So none of her family could come, but the Rogers Family Foundation, actually it's Klein family. They just work for the Rogers Family Foundation. Sorry, this is all on tape. Okay, come on. Oh, where is a Black female project? Come on. No, okay, because for real, we had original sponsors. I mean, I'm just saying, we had partners.
I made it happen.
They always been a part of us. Energy Converters. Let's see. Iris, I already did the big shout out to Iris. The photographer.
Chipimba. He can't leave though.
Chimpimba, who was actually Dr. Cole's student. Where are you going?
Oh, really?
Dr. Cole's student.
Oh, wow.
I got all y'all?
Wow.
I think this is the photo. If I left anyone out, blame it on my head, not my heart. I love you guys. I know that there was something I was gonna say, but that's okay. Let's just take this picture.
Beautiful.
Wait. The poor people. Joe. Oh, you can't take. Can you take off the zipper? Woo. Where's Jennifer? Where's Antoinette?
Antoinette. Oh.
Okay, let's go.
Come on.
Photo out, baby.
Get on up out here.
Thank you all. Okay.
Come on, Mimi. Is Mimi here?
So did you all go to the QR code? Okay, everybody wants a QR code?
No, he didn't set it up.
This is the problem right now.
Okay, y'all got to multiple cameras.
Where's Miss Diane? Okay, now 2022 people, 2022 people.
I mean, awardees.
22 people.
Awardees.
Yeah.
Awardees. Come on up.
22
We
people.
let's just list them up. Yo, yeah,
22 people. Don't let where they can go. You
Don't
can,
say
no,
that.
you can go. You can go.
Thank y'all so much.
No, 22 people. This one. Okay, you can go.
No, not us, the people.
Yeah, no. I know that. I closed. I don't know. She said, I don't know who got
We're gonna start on this side. One, two, three. Quick pause. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Don't do that pause. Please don't look at Paul's face. Thank you. This is a terrible face. Moving something out. She's like, I'm the president.